Hey guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with a new vlog that I'm very excited for because I am reading Booktubers' favorite books of the year so far. So everybody's doing the mid-year freakout tag. I was watching them all. I've actually read a lot of people's favorite books. I saw a lot of Emily Henry and Abby Jimenez. I've read those and I loved them. Definitely at the top of my favorites of the year. And I decided to take 4 people. We'll see if I get through all 4 for this vlog. Hopefully we do, and read their favorite books of the year so far. So I'm going to insert clips from these booktubers right before I read their book. So enter clip number 1.
Favorite book of the year. My favorite book of the year, period, as in like I cannot stop thinking about it and I can't stop talking about the quotes and thinking about the book. But I genuinely think Summer Romance is right up there for me because the quotes from this book and stuff that I have taken from this book to put into my life, all of these things that I think about with this book that I cannot stop thinking about and I'm just so emotionally connected to, that's when you know like a book is like life-changing. Like you have your 5 stars. Love, 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 love. Why I love just for the summer. When I think of a romance, those are my favorites. But this one is like everything to me.
As you saw, that was Destiny from Destiny Sidwell. She has been raving about Annabel Monaghan. I just did a video reacting to Goodreads' favorite romances of the year, or like their, according to them, their top romances of the year. And this was there, and I have never heard of this author until I saw Destiny reading her. And this I thought was really interesting too because it follows a woman who's divorced and she has a 6th grader, a 4th grader, and a preschooler. She's got toddlers, but her one is a moody middle schooler, and I am enjoying this so far, and I'm really excited to see how the romance comes into play. Abby Jimenez does blurb this, so I always thought looking at this that this, I know it says summer romance, but like that it would be more lending towards fiction, and I'm not a fiction reader. I tend to get bored with fiction because I need romance in my stories, so I never heard of this author. But once I saw Destiny talk about this author, I started seeing her everywhere in every bookstore. Every bookstore I went to, I saw this book. I finally decided to pick it up because it's also not available at the library. It's such a long hold wait, so I decided to pick this up. And she is getting a divorce, so her mother's also passed away, so definitely has to deal with grief. And I think that she just said she's going through with the divorce from her husband and took off her ring for the first time. And then she meets someone at the dog park, so I think this is just so fun so far. I think this will definitely have a lot more serious kind of a tone to it because she is overcoming a divorce and losing her mom a couple years ago and still missing that important person in her life. So I'm excited to see and continue on with this book and see if I like it. So far, I got 30 pages in last night when I was reading and I am enjoying it. So I'm gonna read more and I will report back and see what I think of this book. Hello everybody, we are in my library because I just got done filming a podcast episode with Tori, and I did film a video today too, so I've just been really busy after a full work day. So if you can hear my computer blowing, it's because I'm uploading stuff to our Dropbox so that Tori can access my footage. So she is editing this week since I did edit twice the past 2 weeks because she had to go off to Hawaii. But I did finish Summer Romance, and it's a while. This took me like a week to read, not because the book's bad, because I was just so busy. I'm gonna give this one like a solid 4 stars. There were a couple things that I was expecting a little bit more from, but I also think it's because I read a lot of romantic suspense that I was expecting, like that some things were breadcrumbs, but they weren't. So first off, the romance, adorable. I think that this had a really good balance of fiction and romance, that it definitely felt like a romance. I was worried it would definitely lend to too much fiction, and like I don't want to call it women's fiction because like it should just be called fiction, but the heroine is really looking to understand like what she wants out of life and her identity in life and finding a relationship with someone who like values her, which she quickly realizes like her ex-husband never did. However, there were moments when she was like, I feel like my ex is like hiding things from me or lying or like wanting more money, and I was like, is he like embezzling or is he like stealing your money, something? No, Nothing happened with that, and I thought it would have been really entertaining if it did. It is very heartbreaking at the end. Like, they fall in love over the summer, and he lives 4 hours away though, and he is so ingrained in his own community, and she has her kids where she lives, so it literally is like, this is just a summer romance. It'll end by the time summer ends. It doesn't. They obviously are super in love with each other, so it definitely got very angsty at the end, which I liked. There's a death of someone in here too, which was really sad and emotional at the end, but this is Fade to Black, which I was a little disappointed in because I'm someone who thinks that spice definitely plays a key part in a plot, and this really built up their physical chemistry because at one point she really wanted to have sex with him, and he was like, you're a little tipsy, I want to make sure you're 100% in, I don't want you to regret anything, because he's just such a gentleman and I loved him. So he's like, I'm sleeping on the couch. He wouldn't even sleep in the same bed as her, even if they weren't going to get physical, because he didn't want to tempt himself, and he's like, I'm gonna sleep on the couch because you have the bed. And then the next time where like things start heated up, she's like, I'm sure, and then it just like skipped. And I was like, oh, but I really want to see them just like really vulnerable together. So I would have loved that. So this is a Fade to Black romance, but overall I thought it was a really strong connection between them. And they both really had to reflect on what they wanted out of life and like how people treated them and how people viewed them and what made them happy. So 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. So I'm glad I gave a new author a chance. That's why I like doing these videos. But the next book is going to be one that I know people are going to be very excited I'm finally reading. So this is from Ella Rose Reads, and I love her videos so much, and she had done her mid-year freakout tag, and I will go ahead and send you over to her video and we'll see what she wants me to read.
The best book that I've read so far in 2024. Now, I don't think this will come to much surprise to any of you when I say that Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home is my favourite book so far of 2024. I always tell people that the first Magnolia Parks book, or just Magnolia Parks in general, is my favourite book, but every time I tell someone that, this one comes to mind and this one I picture. It's amazing, it's incredible, it's a masterpiece, and I think I would actually sell my soul to read it for the first time again.
She did in fact say this. So there's a couple of creators I really wanted to do for this video, but they either did books I've read or books I haven't gotten to in the series yet. So a couple of people had said the last Magnolia book's their favorite. I'm on this book. I am on Magnolia Parks A Long Way Home, and I'm gonna be reading this one. I do own the originals, but I want to read the floppy, gorgeous editions that I'm just like, I'm obsessed with the flop. The covers, they're kind of growing on me. I love the yellow one. Green, I like it a lot. So we're gonna be reading book 3, and this first book was absolutely heartbreaking and I'm devastated, and I don't know how I'm gonna feel reading this, but I gave books 1 and 2 5 stars. So this is book 3. I have to get onto this one and we'll see if this is a favorite. I'm a little worried because it's been a very long time since I've read Magnolia Parks. I do remember the main conflict of it for sure, so we'll see how I feel having not read this in a while. But it is Friday today, so I do have the weekend ahead of me. I'm very excited to read and hopefully get through a lot of this. Hello everybody, it's been a long day. I've already taken off everything, washed my face, brushed my teeth, put my Laneige lip mask on, which is one of my favorite things, but I started this one. It's been a while since I started this vlog because I had to read like a million and one other things for different things, but I'm back. And there's a reason why I put off reading this book. I only got 80 pages in. I had to go to Cleveland today, I live in Columbus, to see my nephew. He turned 2 today, so it was his birthday party. Well, I think he turned 2 yesterday, and today was his birthday party. And so I had to drive 2 hours there and back. So I drove there, listened to an audiobook, and my sister drove back, and I could start this. The way, so this is book 3 in the series, but it's book 2 of their story, and the way 70 pages in just obliterates your heart, and you're like, and it was just like so casually just like happened, and like I get what the author was doing because it was like told, so it was information told to a character, and the character who said it just like was like, by the way, like, and then the other character was like, and like you feel the shock with that character, and you're just like, how do we move on from this? And like they can't. And so my heart's already breaking 70 pages in, and this is a 580 page book. You're telling me I have 500 pages left? Like, what else is gonna happen? And so I called Tori and I was like, what the heck? And she's like, you're gonna cry at the end. I'm crying at the end of this book. I'm already like emotionally unwell. I don't know what else is gonna happen. I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous. So I'm gonna read more tonight. My goal is to read at least 100 pages, so hopefully I can get to page 200 and get a good chunk, but we'll see. We're just gonna see. Wish me well. Hello, I am here with my new fall Winnie the Pooh sweatshirt. It is like the cutest thing ever. I got it off TikTok shop. But I am here with all the puppies. My sister's at work, so it's just me and all 4 of them. We're about to go upstairs because we all don't fit on the couch. But I have less than 200 pages left, and this book, as I'm reading it, I'm like, literally, I couldn't even tell you the plot of this book. Like, I couldn't even tell you what the next 200 pages are even gonna be about because there's no plot, literally 0 plot. It is all the characters sabotaging themselves and sleeping around a ton in very hurtful ways. And it's just addicting. And it's just so interesting because everybody knows Magnolia and BJ are meant to be. Everybody knows that. But people still allow them to self-sabotage, and everybody falls in love with Magnolia. Like, everybody does. From book 1 to now, everyone falls in love with her, which is what it is, but I just love these characters so much. I love an all-consuming, I literally cannot live or breathe without you romance. Like, it's so good. But I'm so annoyed. Like, how many times can someone say they're gonna break up with someone in one book? Because BJ, you're getting annoying. But I am worried about what's gonna happen because, like I said, I have less than 200 pages and everybody cries in this book. What the heck is gonna happen? I don't know. I did look at the last page, so I saw a little bit of a spoiler. Don't ask me why I looked. I did. But that's not enough to make me cry. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but I am still loving this. I was actually finishing up a little bit of work and watching some fall vlogs. So I'm in such a cozy fall mood right now, and that's why I'm having this sweatshirt on. I'm like, I might wear my Halloween Town one tomorrow, but I do have a nail appointment tomorrow, so I'm like, I don't want to wear a sweatshirt out because like that'll be a little bit warm. So I still might wear a t-shirt tomorrow, but I'm gonna get some new nails, which I'm excited for. And that's like literally, I'm just gonna work, get my nails done, and hopefully finish this book tonight. I went to bed so late last night though, and I was so tired this morning, so I can't stay up too late, but it's about 8 o'clock now. It is 8:20 already, and I have a little less than 200 pages, so we'll see if I finish. That's the goal tonight, finish the rest. So I should talk to you when I'm done. Hopefully I'm not crying. Hello everybody, I am just sitting down to do some Patreon reading sprints, but I finished this book last night, all 600 pages, and I think I'm giving this one, sorry, Gigi just laid down, but I think I'm giving this one a 4 stars. So I really loved it. The beginning was very just like emotional and impactful, but like the rest of it wasn't super emotional. I was expecting like rip your heart out, like stomp on my heart and just like throw it away kind of pain, and there wasn't. And the ending happened like so abruptly in like 2 pages to the end that like it didn't have an emotional impact on me yet. I feel like it will in the next book I read of theirs, but like right now, like I didn't cry, and there was just like, I get it's the point, but like incessant back and forth between BJ and Magnolia, and I kind of liked Daisy's book better. So I love Christian, I love Daisy, and I love Julian. I loved Julian in this book, so I still really love this book. I still really love this world. I still really love the angst, but I think that there's just a little bit too much back and forth for me in this one that I was just like, just get it together. So I do love mess, I do love angst, and I really like this, and I do think like it could have used a little bit more plot to it if it was gonna do that much. I know the point is that there's no plot and it's just like very character driven, but overall I was expecting more. I was expecting to cry. I really didn't. I was expecting to be so hit hard emotionally, and I wasn't as much as books 1 and 2. So solid 4 stars still. Still really love this series, but it is time to go over to my next 2 people. So this is going to be the last book for this vlog, but I have 2 people who have loved this book, so I'm going to cut to them.
The second for my favorite book of the year so far is The Women by Kristin Hannah. I actually don't have my physical copy because my parents are borrowing it and are obsessing and loving it as well. This book is just so good. It's historical fiction and it's centered around Vietnam War and seen from these women's perspective, as the title kind of suggests, and it's just everything, all the emotions. It is so good. Kristin Hannah writes historical fiction like nobody other. I'm obsessed with her historical fictions. I just love this one so much. Like I said, my parents are reading it right now and my mom was like, this should be like a TV show or a movie. Like, this book is everything, and I totally agree. It is. I loved it so much. One of my favorites this year.
These are the top books that I've read so far this year, so I'm gonna go through them really quickly because I actually own physical copies of all of them now. Okay. The Women by Kristin Hannah. This is a book that's been in the top of the Kindle store since it literally came out. But if you're looking to get into historical fiction, I would highly recommend this one. I do love it. It is graphic. It is very hard to read at times, but I think it's so important, and I love the way that Kristin Hannah told this story.
This is going to be the only non-romance of the video, but I'm going to be reading The Women. I just took off the dust jacket. This is actually not even the longest book of the vlog. This one is 460 something pages, and I am very concerned because I know that this is emotional, so we'll see if I do cry reading this one. But this is actually women's fiction. I don't know if there's gonna be a romance in here or not. Look at these pretty end pages though, so pretty. So I'm gonna be starting this. I'll probably start this on my sprints tonight and see how it goes. So very different book for this vlog, but I have high hopes. I'm very excited to read it. So 2 of my besties here on YouTube absolutely love this. So, and I think this is one that really got them both through like very slumpy months. So I am very, very excited to read this. I will update you guys once I've read some. Hi, hello. I am 200 pages in. You can see I moved upstairs to read with my lovely reading pillow. 200 pages in. It's like 500 pages. There's a really, 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 really cute romance. And I'm so scared. Like, I'm so scared. It's 200 pages and we've already seen so many people die. And it's so engaging though. Like, so much has happened in these 200 pages. It's so fast paced and devastating. I mean, they're in Vietnam and there's so much history in here, and I can just imagine how much she put into this book, because I did see the author's note at the end when I was like flipping through to see how many pages there were, and she talked about how she had this idea for this book back in like the 90s, I want to say is what she said, or like early 2000s. It was a long time ago where she said she got the idea for this book and she knew she couldn't do it justice. Okay, so it says she knew in 1997 that she wanted to write this book, but she wasn't ready to take on such a complex story, and it is amazing. It is so amazing, and I'm not one who likes historical fiction, but I think that she just writes it so well, and the characters are so alive. Like, I would literally think this happened. Like, they're so fleshed out, and there's just so much happening. Like, I'm only 200 pages in and there's so much that has happened. So I'm really loving this, but I'm scared. I'm so scared. I better not cry, but we will see. I'm gonna talk to you in the morning. It's okay. It's okay. Hello everybody. I hope this lighting's okay. I just have the natural light, trying to not have too much glare on my glasses, but I don't know if I kept that last clip in or not. Because last night was rough. I finished so much of this book yesterday. I was on page like 100 when I started yesterday. I got through 460 pages of this book, and I ended up crying, which I didn't think I would. So throughout a lot of this book I was tearing up, and I literally was FaceTiming Tori today. She's the one who her and Christi I read this because of, and I was just ranting about the injustices of our country and of the world and of just like really men in general, because what the women went through in Vietnam was just so unfair and heartbreaking, and it actually really reminded me of Manacled and how angry I was at that book on Hermione's behalf. So I literally, in my Manacled vlog, I was just like sobbing, and I just kept on saying it's not fair because of that last line. And that last line literally applies to this book, and it makes me rage because, like, while Manacled is completely fiction, fantasy world, whatever, this is so rooted in our history and how women were treated and how any really minority was treated in the wars, and it just makes me so mad because what this character goes through, what Frankie goes through, is so realistic. You're like, I know exactly what led her to this moment in her life because of how awful things were. Not only was the war awful, but she this whole book, I don't want to spoil anything, but like the book is not entirely in the war. Like this spans like 8 years of her life, 10 years of her life. And obviously like she's not in the war that long. She only spent 2 years as a combat nurse. And it just made me rage. And like men suck. Like men are the worst on this planet. In this book, I was so frustrated for her, and like I had updated you guys earlier about like the romance is so cute. Men are trash. So that is just like such a roller coaster of emotions I went through on this book, and it was so addicting. Like I said, like it was a 460-page book, and there was not a single slow moment in this book. I was so engaged in this story, and I was like, so much is happening. And Kristin Hannah is just like the most beautiful storyteller. Like I said, it felt like I was literally reading someone's life. Like this is a real story to me. Like it is so vividly written, and the emotions are just like everything. And I'm so scared to read more of her books because I am actually emotionally traumatized from reading this book because of what people went through. Because I know she does such a good job of researching and how deeply rooted in history this book is, that like I'm assuming this is pretty accurate to what was going on then. So it was so good. I'm scared to read more by Kristin Hannah because I was talking to Christi and Tori. They just had their live show. They have a historical fiction book club, and they were talking about Kristin Hannah, and then I was talking a little bit in my Patreon readings friends with Christi, and Christi said that she really loves her books. Like even The Great Alone is one I really wanted to read, but that takes place in Alaska, and I was like, it looks so good. And she's like, I almost had to put it down because of how emotionally taxing reading that book was. And like obviously like we have the privilege of being able to put a book down when it becomes too much, when we're reading about like something that could be the reality of someone else's life, and they can't just say, close the book, I don't want to read this anymore. Like it's their real life lived experience, and that's what this was. And it's just, it's heartbreaking, but this one was so good. It is about the women who served as combat nurses in Vietnam and how everybody said women didn't serve, you don't need help, and the trauma of being in a war, especially coming home from a war that people did not support. And so they were not treated as heroes. They were like, this isn't a World War II. We are not coming home to a hero's parade. And it was devastating. So I could literally go on and on and on about this book. It was stunning, 5 stars. Do I want to read this every single time I read a book? No, because I will never be emotionally stable again if I do, because this book is so hard to read, but so important and so good. And I loved it. So I might have to take a while before I pick up another Kristin Hannah because it just tears you apart. And you cry. And I don't know if you saw my clip. I don't know. So I had a clip of me crying in bed, and Darcy was very concerned. So Lily and Darcy, it was literally like 11:30 at night. I go to bed at 10. It was 11:30, sobbing, snot dripping down my nose. I didn't have any more tissues by my bed. They were in my office, and Lily like looks at me, and I'm like, it's okay. And then Darcy sits up and comes over and like crawls over my back to comfort me. These puppies, I don't cry a lot, so when they see me cry, they're like, something is wrong. So this book was just magic. Please read it if you have not yet. But that is the end of this vlog. Such a good reading vlog though. I had 2 4-star reads and then a 5-star read, and so I'm so happy that I picked these out as books that booktubers have loved so far this year. Like they're all-time favorites of the year so far. I did find a new all-time favorite, and then 2 that I really enjoyed, so, and 1 that I really had to get to that I had been putting off. But if you have not yet, check out all the creators that I read their favorites for. They will be linked down below, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.